Hey guys, so recently we realized that we never took a look at a very powerful tool in the editor module. And I'm talking about the gradient filter. This single tool allows us to add things like a sunset, increase the dullness of a sky, and so forth. The possibilities are endless, and once you understand how the gradient filter works and how to set it up correctly, you can really apply your skills and create a plethora of different options. So now all I'm asking for is 5 minutes of your time to watch this video and get down to the basics of how you can apply this to your own photography in Zoner Photo Studio. Let's go take a look. Okay, so for the first example of how we can utilize the gradient filter is by increasing the intensity of the sunset right here. As with any project in the editor module, don't forget to duplicate your original layer in case something happens along the way and you need to come back to it. We'll be working with the filter in the editor module, and you'll find it here in the drawing tools, and then here, gradient filter. The gradient is great in the sense that we can choose and mix various colors and shades on our own. So using this mixer, let's try and find a color that's similar to this sunset here itself. Now, how do we add colors here? Well, let's start off by selecting this arrow on the left side of the gradient, and now we can start exploring different colors. We can also double click on the arrow and the same thing will happen. Let's start off by selecting a yellow, a very light, almost white colored yellow, like this. And once we're done, let's move to the other side. Here we'll select a black color, but don't freak out now as we'll get to the reason behind this. Okay, now that we have our gradient set up like this, we need to create a smooth transition from this light yellow to an orange-like, almost reddish color. So the next color we'll be adding here is orange. We'll click into an area where we'd like the yellow to start transitioning into this orange and select the color to correspond to that. Confirm the selection and let's move on to the next color. That color will be sort of a darker orangish red, maybe even a hint of brown. Yes, that isn't a color, but you know what I mean. Okay, yes, that's it right there. Confirm everything, and now with a click and drag of the mouse, we'll direct the flow to where we want on the photo. Now we're at the point where we can pick a sort of shape and how the gradient will look. It can be linear like this. It can also be radial and even angular. But for this job, we'll need a radial shape. If the transitions don't suit you, as in the transition being too abrupt or too soft, then now is the right time to fine-tune the gradient transition. We'll do this by moving the arrows, which we used earlier to soften or sharpen the transitions between the colors we picked. And as we move them around, we can see in real time the effect they have on our gradient filter. And since we call this module an editor, you bet it has a way of changing the blending mode. We want to take that black color we selected on earlier and make it transparent. Now comes the part of why we chose that black color. Besides helping us to see where our effect ends, the main point is that once we activate our particular blending mode called screen mode, it'll make the black area transparent. Okay, so open the blending mode drop-down menu and select screen mode, which will do exactly what we've been looking for. Bada boom, bada bing, we're almost done. We can still position and play with the size of the filter to fit our needs, like this. And we can also adjust the opacity, which of course alters the intensity of the filter. The scale slider here adjusts how abrupt or soft the filter shines, in this case. And now, another example of how we can use the gradient filter in our pictures. You see this boring and dull looking gray sky? Well, if you want to add a little bit of flair, let's say blue in there to spice it up, we're at the right place. This time we'll use the linear form of the filter and we'll add a light blue color into the left side of the gradient. So just like this. And again, we'll click and drag our filter into place and select this time a different blending mode from the default setting. This time we won't use the screen mode, but the multiply mode. And now all we have to do is position the filter and we're finished. But I think a darker blue shade would suit this picture better, so let's change that. Okay, yeah, that looks a bit better. And we can also decrease the opacity here, like in the last photo, so that the effect isn't as intense. And done. Okay, so that's how the gradient filter works, and some examples of how we can utilize it in our own photographs personally. I hope you liked this video. Of course, as always, give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you think in the comments below because we're interested in your thoughts. And see you in the next one. Until next time, I'm out.